Thanks, Thor. 8 o'clock here on this Friday morning. The BC Coroners Service confirming 2 people are dead after a jet skiing accident on the Fraser River last night. Greg Harper is live in Richmond this morning with the details. Greg.
Good morning, Kyle. Well, I spoke to a man who was in this area around 7:30 last night, and he says he saw 4, possibly 5 jet skis that were zooming along the Fraser River. It's not clear if this is related to what happened here last night. The Coast Guard was called to the Fraser near number 4 Road in Richmond after being alerted by a tugboat that 2 people were in the water. This was around 9 o'clock last night. The Coast Guard used the hovercraft, pulled 2 men from the water. They were taken to shore where emergency crews were waiting, and emergency crews worked on the victims, but unfortunately were unable to save them. They did pass away from this accident. So we are awaiting word from Richmond RCMP. We're expecting more details shortly here on what exactly may have transpired. This man says it's not uncommon to see jet skiing in the area.
On the other side of the river, further up, I've never seen them up there. I mean, they do come out mid-river from time to time, so they might have done that. But it was starting to get dark, so if I was them, I would have gone, right?
So again, Kyle, we're expecting more information from Richmond RCMP very shortly. Kyle?
Greg Harper reporting live this morning in Richmond. Thanks for that, Greg. Well, no one has been injured in an early morning house fire in Coquitlam. Crews were called to Robinson Street near Morrison Avenue just before 2 o'clock this morning. Thick smoke could be seen billowing from both the front and back doors. Flames were also shooting from the attic. One person and their dog managed to get out safely.
It looks to be suspicious in nature. When we arrived, there was fire at the front and the back doors of the house. There was a single resident in the home who had to exit through a window. He was out when we got here.
Meantime, Surrey RCMP are in Whalley this morning after reports of a shop being fired and a man being assaulted overnight. Calls came in at around midnight to 113B Avenue and 132nd Street. A witness says a man was attacked by several other people who took off when that witness stepped in. A vehicle arrived to pick up the victim, and that's when a shot was fired. The vehicle later found near 129th Street and 100th Avenue. 3 people are in custody, and the injured man remains in hospital. Well, it's finally raining across much of the south coast this morning, creating slick conditions on the roads. This is just the beginning. Between 80 and 120 millimeters of rain could fall in some places between today and Monday. That means more rain is expected this weekend than what we've had all summer. Conditions have been extremely dry this summer, and there are major concerns about how the soil will absorb all this moisture.
Not so much for today. I believe the rain will actually taper off throughout the second half of the day today, but the main event, the stormier system, is coming late overnight and Saturday. That one packs a much bigger punch. Total rainfall amounts on the order of 100 to 120 millimeters expected. Mostly that's over higher terrain, the mountainous areas into the forests. Yes, mudslides are a possibility, and also flash flooding. We'll get hosed in Metro Vancouver this weekend as well.
The rain and cooler temperatures are a welcome relief for fire crews in this province. An evacuation alert affecting about 1,600 people in the Grand Forks area is still in effect. 177 wildfires are currently burning in BC.
Depending on how severe those winds are, as well as what direction they're blowing in, it's going to have a big effect on whether or not we see kind of growth in these fires.
The hot weather has led to a bumper crop for fruit trees in Metro Vancouver. Volunteers have been out harvesting fruit since the end of June. Last week, Vancouver volunteers say they gathered more than 200 pounds of grapes and more than 100 pounds of plums. The fruit, which would otherwise go to waste, is donated by homeowners to local food banks and community centers.
And they do some canning program or some pie making program, and yeah, they are making and eating, and sometimes fundraising purpose too.
Well, if you plan on using SkyTrain this weekend, you should leave yourself at least 20 extra minutes of travel time to get to where you need to go. Starting late tonight and right through until Sunday night, TransLink is replacing major sections of its 30-year-old track while keeping the service open for customers. It's expected to cause delays for customers taking the Expo and Millennium lines this weekend and next. The corporation says there will be signs and announcements made at all stations. Attendants will also be on hand to answer any questions.
I'd like to add that this is necessary rail work. The original track is about 30 years old, and we're doing everything we can to make it as painless as possible for our passengers, and we thank them for their patience.